Sahih Al-Bukhari 1171 narrated Mujahid. Somebody came to the house of Ibn Umar and told him that Allah's Messenger had entered the Kaaba. Ibn Umar said, I went in front of the Kaaba and found that Allah's Messenger had come out of the Kaaba, and I saw Bilal standing by the side of the gates of the Kaaba. I said, O Bilal, has Allah's Apostle P.B.U.H. prayed inside the Kaaba? Bilal replied in the affirmative. I said, where did he pray? He replied, he prayed between these two pillars, and then he came out and offered a 2-rakat prayer in front of the Kaaba. Abu Abdullah said, Abu Hurairah said, the Prophet P.B.U.H. advised me to offer 2 rakat of duha prayer to be offered after sunrise and before midday. Itban bin Malik said, Allah's Messenger P.B.U.H. and Abu Bakr came to me after sunrise, and we aligned behind the Prophet P.B.U.H. and offered 2 rakat. Sahih Al-Bukhari 1173 narrated Ibn Umar, I offered with the Prophet 2 rakat before the Zuhr and 2 rakat after the Zuhr prayer, 2 rakat after Maghrib, Isha, and the Jamil prayers. Those of the Maghrib and Isha were offered in his house. My sister Hafsa told me that the Prophet used to offer 2 light rakat after dawn, and it was the time when I never went to the Prophet. Sahih Al-Bukhari 1174 narrated Umar, I heard Abu Ash'a the Jabir saying, I heard Ibn Abbas saying, I offered with Allah's Messenger 8 rakat of Zuhr and Asr prayers together and 7 rakat the Maghrib and the Isha prayers together. I said, O Abu Ash'ata, I think he must have prayed the Zuhr late and the Asr early, the Isha early and the Maghrib late. Abu Ash'a the said, I also think so. See Hadith No. 518 Volume 1. Sahih Al-Bukhari 1175 narrated Mubark, I asked Ibn Umar, do you offer the duha prayer? He replied in the negative. I further asked, did Umar used to pray it? He, Ibn Umar, replied in the negative. I again asked, did Abu Bakr use to pray it? He replied in the negative. I again asked, did the Prophet use to pray it? Ibn Umar replied, I don't think he did. Sahih Al-Bukhari 1176 narrated Abdurrahman bin Abi Layla, only Hani narrated to me that she had seen the Prophet offering the duha prayer. She said, on the day of the conquest of Mecca, the Prophet entered my house, took a bath and offered 8 rakat of duha prayers. I had never seen the Prophet offering such a light prayer, but he performed bowing and prostrations perfectly. Sahih Al-Bukhari 1177 narrated Aisha, I never saw the Prophet offering the duha prayer, but I always offer it. Sahih Al-Bukhari 1178 narrated Abu Hurairah, my friend, the Prophet advised me to do 3 things, and I shall not leave them till I die. These are, to fast 3 days every month, to offer the duha prayer, and to offer witr before sleeping. Sahih Al-Bukhari 1179 narrated Anas bin Surin, I heard Anas bin Malik al-Ansari saying, an Ansari man, who was very fat, said to the Prophet, I am unable to present myself for the prayer with you. He prepared a meal for the Prophet, and invited him to his house. He washed one side of a mat with water and the Prophet offered 2 rakat on it. So-and-so, the son of so-and-so, the son of Al-Jarud asked Anas, did the Prophet use to offer the duha prayer? Anas replied, I never saw him praying the duha prayer except on that day. Sahih Al-Bukhari 1181 narrated Ibn Umar, I remember 10 rakat of nawafil from the Prophet, 2 rakat before the Zuhr prayer and 2 after it, 2 rakat after Maghrib prayer in his house, and 2 rakat after Isha prayer in his house, and 2 rakat before the Fajr prayer, and at that time nobody would enter the house of the Prophet. Hafsa told me that the Prophet used to offer 2 rakat after the call maker had made the adhan and the day had dawned.